All right. So we're gonna start kind of doing live streams of this, of these different sessions that I do, just so that they're always on there, and then I can continue to update them as we go. Uh, so to follow up for anyone who wasn't seeing these streams on Twitch, because I'm switching over to YouTube, um, building a language app, doing it for myself, doing it for fun, and here we're actually going to be working on setting up the infrastructure for this. So this is a domain-driven project, domain-driven design project. And you can see we have our language object here that I laid out in previous sods. And we set up the interface for how we're going to work with this object. So we have, the normal CRUD stack here, just add, get, delete, update, normal stuff. And now we need a way to create these in the actual application. So we're going to move to the application layer. We are going to use RiverPod, and we are going to use the newest version of it. So it has a bit of a different structure for anyone who hasn't used it since the update, RiverPod. I love RiverPod. I would go as far to say that I am obsessed with it. So oops, I don't know what that is. So there's like a way to pin chat open here. I'm sure there probably is. I just need to find it out. Anyways, if you haven't used RiverPod before, it's one of the state management methods and tools you can use. There's a bunch of them. You could use the built-in stateful widgets. You could use a block method. You could use RiverPod. I typically don't use block unless I'm working on a project that has that as a legacy state management system, just because it's very verbose for me. And I think there are ways to achieve that same functionality and control in a method like this. So I love RiverPod. I use it for all my private projects. I think it is the bee's knees, and it allows you to just create state providers and state notifiers that allow you to manage the third-party state outside of the project. So there's the new version of it has a bunch of crazy features, including a new syntax, and I need to find where that is, but there is an awesome, nope, not dash overflow, which I appreciate you, but that's not what we're looking for. This guy, so the documentation page for this is actually swell. There's a new annotation method, caching and data grinding, data binding framework, yay. Where are you? No, we're going to be in the newest section. And it's an annotation. One second, I have it saved somewhere else. Okay. These are all added on resources on the Notion page as well. So say, for instance, you have a class tool, in our case, vocabulary, right? So we have this class. It has stuff in it. You can have to-dos, which would be the plural of that, and you just append the RiverPod object to that. And it just does all of this for you. I think this is the coolest thing. I think this is so powerful because like you just created effectively an entire state management tool, like a notifier, by just doing this. So yeah, I am going to set this up. I have not used the then this new annotation. So I don't know what generator this is going to run or how it's necessarily going to function, but we're going to find out. It's obviously not going to be vocab or to-dos for us, but it is going to be vocabs, which I don't love that name, but it's the plural of vocab. That is also plural. Yank. Today is my first day without my sling. God, it almost makes me just want to change it to word instead of vocabs. It's not just a singular word. It could be vocab, it could be strings, it could be other stuff. Okay, we got to figure out where and how this generator code works now in this new method. Yeah, I figured there was more packages than just that. Also, this is an awesome little rundown, so we're probably just gonna use this exact part. Lots of new dependencies coming in. It's always good to just toggle in and kind of take a quick gander at what's being uploaded. Just knowing what's in your stack is always healthy. I sometimes get nervous about adding custom linters. That should have gotten added here. I don't know where it is. That analyzer option that you're seeing. Oh, please don't open. I accidentally clicked my company database tool. Oh, did that crash? Nope. Okay, cool. Nope. Not where we need or want it. See if that works. I'm not sure if it'll work. Boom. Now we got that annotation in here. You can see that this doesn't exist yet. I assume that's probably because it needs a generated file attached to it. It might do that for us. Let's wait. That's gonna break. Run my generative script. You deprecated use run instead. All right, get some coffee. It's early. Finish. Cool. Okay, so it did not find this. Oh, that's part of the reason. Why? Gosh, darn it. This is the first time I've been able to type with two complete hands in a while, and it is strange. Let's check this example and see if we do need to manually import a... Nope, it should run... I assume, is this using the notation? I don't see it. It's an all-in-one file, so it's like big and hard to look at and find, but I don't see it. Okay, so it does add a generated file. So let's just, even if it does that for us, let's just do it now. I have this little snippet that does that for me. It just takes whatever the name of the file is. I'm also not going to call this a notifier because I actually think that this is straight up building the provider now. And if you have not used Notion before, or sorry, not Notion, whoopsie. Don't want the freezed file actually, that's might be TS. Let's try to dart run build runner. Yep, okay. I just have this little alias set up in my environment that I like to use, so. All right, cool. So it actually generated this for us, which you can see here, and it does create that provider. It has it as a auto dispose notifier provider, which we might want to change, but if for whatever reason, auto dispose is generally kind of good for some things. I have had problems where it disposes when I don't want it to. Alrighty then. Okay, so this should build our list of vocab. Let's pull up that documentation again, reference what they're doing here. Riverpod hello world. Let's go up to that to-dos one. Show me that notifier. Show me. Dislike. Oh, there is a file stack. I was very confused. Okay, so here they actually just have the build running this notifier. In ours, we're going to add a to-do note, implement build with initialize state. So we are building this offline first, but I'm adding the caveat that we're also going to be making sure that everything is synced to the internet. Alrighty then. Okay, let's do this part. Why? Oh yeah, that's might be. Command D, select both of them, yoink yoink, fixed. Let's pull up our app and make a little form. This is going to require a ton of new styling because we haven't done any freeform texts, right? So let's really quickly jot down how we want this to go. I always just like to make sure I have. Okay. This is day 11. Day 11. Adding vocab. we're gonna start with like the simplest way, right? But let's think about the whole thing. So add vocab string. What I'm thinking is that we need fields to add vocab in native and foreign, which I'm probably going to change for like from saying native to saying first language and second language. I think that's probably more universal. And just in the code base, none of those things are really going to be super communicated on the back end, or on the front end. Okay, so we need to be able to add those. Need to get supporting info such as emojis. Cool. So effectively what I'm going to do is we're going to make this class. And this class, you know, we're going to actually just click over to our vocab class, grab the whole thing, jump over to chat, and say, write an example JSON of a data object for this class. Yeah, bingo, look at that. This is also good because it allows us to kind of test how how it's actually going to function. So let's go back here. Let's add a code block, which I think is, what's the code block key here? Yeah, nope, let's toggle down, whatever. I wish you just had the little hints there. So you can see here, this is the full object. The notes section, we're not going to really dive into right now. That's going to kind of be for your own personal stuff. If you were to be like, this is how it's used. Obviously it fucked up on the language code. Didn't really read or understand that. So we're going to have to solve that. But these are always going to be coming from, from the local storage. So those are already set. And then all you need to provide is one of these others, and then we're going to ask GPT to fill out the rest. And that might take a little bit, but right now we're just going to write the forms. So write a flutter form for a two fields. So this provider is going to connect to the presentation layer, which we are now going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to add a vocab folder. And we're going to add a file called vocab form. You can technically use a state provider to manage these things. It does work. It can get complicated if you're using a form provider or if you're using a provider for every single form. My general thesis on this is use a form provider if you're going to need to do any form of, or use a provider for a form if you're going to need to do any like complicated state management or business logic for your form, because your forms can get pretty out of hand. So like I like to use a form notifier provider for things like sign in, because oftentimes you want to carry state like form fields across multiple different potential pages. So for instance, like if someone starts filling in their password or something, right, or their username, and then you want to move, they realize like, oh, I shouldn't be in sign in, I should be in sign up, or I need to do forgotten password or whatever, and you want it to move, the state to move across changing forms. That's a great example of using a provider for a form. All right. We should decide whether we want this to be its own page. Let's look at the app really quick. Do a little status check. Sure. Let's have this be its own page. Make sure it doesn't have like a bottom nav bar or anything. What's the boy, it's starting to take shape for sure. All right. We have our homepage, which I want to keep as homepage, but I want to make sure that we're dealing with this. So need full screen. Thank you. Whoops. Unless we decide to make the form a different widget, we're also going to have this widget named page. So as it gets more complicated, we might break out the form into its own widget, have the scaffold and layout and stuff be its own widget as well. That can always be a good practice. No need. Do I not have? Okay, this is what I'm looking for. I dislike greatly that the application, this like flutter gen language thing, is all the way up in the build folder, because it means importing it is annoying, but whatever. That is not what that is. This gives us a string. We're not going to deal with validators yet. can be null. So we need a new, this is going to be called create, but we're going to make it in our languages. Now I got all sorts of things open in my file tree. Yoink. Also, I'm realizing going to be good just practice for me because it's going to translate all this stuff into Spanish for me. All right. Doing the internationalization can be annoying, but I promise it is worth it to just do it up front. And I promise that it's so worth it. It's not even funny because eventually you're gonna have to do it anyway. And if you don't do it now and you do it later, then you end up creating a hell for yourself to go through and translate all of them and do all these transfers. At least that from my experience. I do realize and forget that the generator code for this is just pubget. Does that do it? It does do it, but it did it wrong. Or I did it wrong, I should say. I messed up. It did not like that. ChatGPT caught my error though, didn't it? Yes, it did. Super fun. Very fun. Okay, it recognizes that there is a value here now. But it wants a text widget, which is fair. You can have a text widget. Let's use our fancy new button. Maybe. Or we'll do an elevated button. I like elevated buttons. Oh, this is in an elevate button. I'm a dummy. And then this is a page, same thing as before. Create our own page, create a new page, import our router, save our router. Why do you not like me? I don't know why you don't like me. All right. Okay, where's this little button that we put up in the corner? The language that we're learning is not null. I don't want to delete this. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because while it's cool, it's not useful. You got that one quick, didn't you? That is not our router. Auto route dot out of context push name. Oh, it's not even in the namespace. It's like, hey, we're having a huge problem down here, guy. What do you think you're doing? Don't go adding routes without adding them into the page. It's tasty. We love a const route. That also means we probably want to add the reverse of this up here. Did you do it? Did you do the thing? Nope, you did not. You did not understand the message. Actually, I think is the back button already on? I don't love that. That's an error. We're getting an error on something else. Yeah, okay, well, we're going to come back to you. Pourquoi? Oh, yeah. Dislike that as well. I feel like that should, the router should be able to figure that one out, but what you gonna do? Okay, so we're stuck here. Refresh. Issues with the router. Unhandled exception failure is resolved. I thought this was resolved. Did I cause a problem for the app? Okay. I just got a notification from one of the Flutter packages that's provided by AWS, the Flutter Amplify package, that they are moving to version 1.0, which is very exciting, but it also means that the entire infrastructure of your app, if it's built on Flutter, needs to be updated. Or it's built on Amplify, it needs to be updated. So I'm definitely going to have to do that. And we're well over 30 minutes here, so I'm actually probably going to have to stop and come back and finish this routing later. Great, brought it here. Quick route. There you go. You can see that we got into the location page. We're able to add this. The UI is broken, and we can click on this. There's a save button that takes us back for some reason, and a back button that takes us back, which is great. But the back button here is gone, and you can't swipe to go back a page, which is also something we wanted because it was taking us back in the stack to the onboarding page, which is not the initial route. All right, I think things are looking better, and we're going to come back and finish adding vocab here later today. Sweet. Bye.